Hazbin Hotel has to be the most in-demand, talked about animated series right now. And it feels like they pumped out season 2 pretty quick, all things considered. And there's a lot of buzz around how they handled sensitive topics in this show. There is so much weight riding on season 2. You know what they say, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. But is season 2 worse than season 1, like I've been hearing a lot of people argue? I don't think so. Is it better? No. Is it bad? No. And I can think of no better way to start this video off than by complaining, as every good Hazbin Hotel fan does. Is anyone else upset that Katie Killjoy is voiced by Brandon Rogers? I mean, I love him, but don't get me wrong, the original voice actor was really good. So Heaven and Hell are still at odds, but there's an awkward in-between, and during that time, the hotel is booming.
Where is Charlie Morningstar? Is it true she drinks angel blood to improve her gay powers?
Shh, no, don't let the straights know our secrets, jeez. As much as I want to comment on Angel Dust's personal struggles and how it's somewhat undercut with other characters going through arguably similar sexual problems, but I don't know enough about this topic to give knowledgeable commentary on, so I'll try where I can, but just so you know, I might say something that might require a YouTuber apology video. Fair warning, Charlie is racked with guilt for Sir Pentious sacrificing himself last season, which seems really odd. I mean, I get that she cares about her guests and Sir Pentious was unique and she sees it as a personal failure more than guilt, but it just seems like a bit too much, even for the daughter of pride. In the course of 1 minute, they accurately showcase the heartlessness of fame and Hollywood and social media stars, how manufactured everything is, and I don't see enough people really focusing on that, and I think it's because most people watching this didn't live through the Britney Spears debacle. I adore this song and what they're portraying. Like, they're showcasing the pursuit of actual happiness with Charlie and our perceived happiness that is sold to us. And I feel like people just kind of aren't digesting that, even though that's kind of the whole point of this show in a lot of ways.
We need to be better than them. Acting in self-defense, we shouldn't celebrate what she had to do.
Yeah, sorry, Charlie. If the people in power are committing metaphysical genocide, I would also celebrate their deaths. Vox plans on starting an insurrection against Heaven, which if I didn't know what I know about how you can flip-flop between Heaven and Hell, I would be wholly on their side. And since they control the media, they can easily make Charlie look terrible and them look like the good guys. Then Emily tells Charlie that Sir Pentious is in heaven and her hotel works. Now, I was going to argue that this takes away a lot of potential for Sir Pentious to have a big reveal of being alive, and it still does, but does this also very clearly set up the media war that they're about to engage in? Yes. And so I think it's still a pretty solid approach to how to do this, because that's what this entire season is about. It's really about conflicting the media versus the truth, and how media skews everything and how media will manipulate the masses. Hopefully I don't need to spell this out for you guys. It's pretty clear cut. Does anyone else think it's ironic that God or heaven is supposed to be, all-knowing, and yet no angel knew that people in hell can be redeemed, which shows both that the denizens of heaven aren't as powerful as the Bible would want us to believe, but it also shows that God does have space for true forgiveness. So it picks the sides of both atheists and Christians.
I don't know how I got here. Who are you?
I'm known as the Speaker of God.
Maybe you should do a lot more speaking because heaven is going to shit. Turns out Sir Pentious was basically a Victorian Ozzy Osbourne when he was alive, who also witnessed Jack the Ripper and did nothing nor even reported who the man was because he was too much of a recluse, and he's racked with guilt. Thus, he went to hell. Him finally trying to protect someone redeemed him, specifically fixing and growing what was wrong with him. And Lute still doesn't believe it and argues against the literal voice of God. No matter what, God's word will be questioned. How much do you want to bet she's going to hell sometime in this show? I love how Sir Pentious isn't happy with heaven and is actively trying to find a way back to his friends, because it shows that this represents that the binary system of heaven and hell doesn't work, that there is something right about hell and that heaven isn't necessarily the quote-unquote right and hell isn't necessarily the wrong. And Seraphim is also experiencing this realization, how the status quo doesn't mean she's righteous, and trying to conceptualize something outside of the system they're confined in is so difficult that she can't handle the concept. Instead of admitting they're wrong, instead they decide to shut down heaven and go into isolationism, which is so very clearly a bad call on multiple levels. If we can't have it our way, then no one can have it their way at all. Charlie falls for the classic debate me bro trap and goes on Vox's show on their terms and lets them dictate the narrative because she doesn't have any media training whatsoever, and it drives me crazy.
Redemption is possible, which proves that the Hazbin Hotel actually works. He's not actually here in heaven.
Then how will you prove these fantastical claims? And how do you know he's actually, up there?
Charlie figures out that in order to redeem a person, they have to act against their own sin, and Angel is the best candidate.
Princess, what exercise could one do to be forgiven for being Stop! Murderer? Tell me that killed your dad, right?
This season is just full of flashbacks. We get one for Alastor too. Gosh, how nice. Alastor choosing to go to hell for funsies? Yeah, that sounds about right. And made a contract with the cannibal lady. Then we get an anime-style fight scene between Vox and Alastor. Very cool. Can't wait for the edits to come from this.
Call off your goons. I have a proposition. I'll join your propaganda parade and be your little prisoner.
What conditions?
You're not to lay your hands on Charlie Morningstar.
Wait, that's it?
People got upset at this scene and how they suggested that Vox and Val did the dirty and forced Alastor to watch, and used that as leverage, saying that it undermines Angel's whole story, which, I mean, like, I see their point, but Alastor very clearly knew this was probably gonna happen and voluntarily chose this when Angel's situation was that he was deceived and coerced into what happened to him, so it's not really the same if you ask me. Sir Pentious convinces Seraphim to go and apologize, directly quoting Charlie and her teachings, and now Charlie might have leverage. And in case it wasn't obvious that Vox is evil, they literally have him echoing Trump.
We knew hell could be great, and we can make hell great again!
Usually people argue that America was never great, but it's really true for hell. Like, how do you people buy this? Then Charlie and the Angels show up and apologize in front of a big crowd. Obviously, it's not taken super well, especially since Vox is right there to do what he does best and make sure their apology falls flat, just like he did with Charlie, and make sure his own narrative purveys above theirs.
And with the apology, after everything heaven did to us, why would any of us forgive you?
You know, that's a fair point. Then they bail.
Charlie, that's what Vox does. Because you aren't listening to me. You're hyperfixating on what he's saying about you.
Because he's hurting the hotel. He is ruining.
Charlie, you are hurting the hotel.
We start seeing Alastor's plan is to divide Vox's accomplices, teasing Vox and showcasing that Vox needs other people in order to get his way, and he doesn't have any real power alone, and Val and Velvet are slowly starting to hate him. One thing I will argue against is that the main criticism people have with Charlie and Vaggie is that they're boring. All the while, Vaggie has one of the most interesting premises in the show, and though that is correct, I would argue that's kind of the entire point. Most of the time we see a queer relationship as the epicenter of a plot. They're never happy. The relationship is always rocky. Gays can never just have it good, and so seeing Charlie and Vaggie just work and just be happy, it's boring but also refreshing. Now, could you argue that queer relationships are rocky because a relationship in any show, regardless of direction, should have conflict because that's what makes a show interesting? Yes. So in a roundabout way, we kind of end up at the same point, but not for the same reason. I'm saying, I think that Vivziepop is taking old feedback about like lesbian couples in shows and implementing it in the story to show how like against the grain and progressive she is, when really that criticism didn't have too much basis to begin with. I like them. I like their relationship. It feels more real, if you ask me. Like they aren't just in a relationship, like they're actually partners and can handle rough times together, and they can actually talk things through. And that's how it's supposed to be. And damn, I love lesbians, so I'm very biased. Now, Angel going back to sex work for Val is what really pisses me off. Like, I get that Angel is supposed to be giving up on himself and relapsing, but there has to be other options. I get that victims often stick around with their abusers, but he had a long time separated and actively rebelling against Val. Even if this is just a means for the plot to progress, it still feels wrong. It feels unbelievable. We do get to see that Vox has been actively brainwashing Angel and using him as a means to spy on Charlie. So fine, I guess that makes sense. And part of the reason it feels so wrong is because you naturally want the victim to fight for themselves, but plenty of victims fall back into their old habits, go back to their abusers. I mean, I've seen this happen. Even though it will make no logical sense, sometimes victims will go back to their abuser because they have that much mental control over their abuser. And it's more like, if I just fall in line and stay in place and don't do anything wrong, then I'll be safe. They convince themselves it's safer to stay with their abuser than it is to leave them. And that's why this happens. So maybe the point of the scene is to intentionally make you angry? But, you know, besides the whole brainwashed spy part, which is also very clearly the plot reason why this has happened. I'm trying to not let my feelings talk. However, I think I'm failing. I am gonna pass it on to you guys. How do you feel about this scene? What do you think about the scene? Give me both. Because thinking and feeling oftentimes go hand in hand, but they are two different things. Lucifer gets trapped. Hypnotized Angel tells the world that Charlie's hotel is a hoax. Big weapon revealed. War begins between heaven and hell.
You have 24 hours to surrender the kingdom of heaven to me.
Sarah and Sir Pentious have a duet, and I feel like it's a big nothing burger. Like, what was the message? It just kind of felt like Sir Pentious was telling her to surrender, or at least that's what I got from it. So she tells Lute to prepare for war, but don't attack, and gives Emily a chance to do something. The random additional character that wasn't relevant until literally right now lets them know now that he knows how to broadcast to all of hell. That would have been nice in the beginning of the season. Are you kidding me? That seems a little bit like desperate writing, if you ask me. I get that they kind of lampshade that the only reason he's doing this now is because after living at the hotel, now he feels like they're friends, and now he's willing to do this for them and actually open up to him. But like, come on, guys. It feels like we're reverse justifying a plot hole or plot convenience sort of deal. It feels cheap. Like, I'm just gonna lay this piece here and not address it and have him come back for plot convenience reasons, and you can't, it's nominally better than having some rando walk in and being like, I know how to fix all of this, don't worry, guys. Like, yeah, you established him before, which makes it not as offensive, but it's still offensive. They split off into teams to dissolve Vox's plan. They find Angel. Random guy hacks Vox's servers. Vaggie sneaks into the weapon and finds Lucifer the battery.
All right, princess, this is my
Always wanted to do that.
Oh, I thought something was wrong with my TV. Oh, that was awesome. A very direct display of he who controls the media controls the people. Vox demands Charlie to admit she lost, and we finally get to see the payoff of the deal Alastor made with Charlie from last season.
Vox is the strongest sinner in hell.
That undoes Alastor's contract to Cannibal Woman Lady. Vox breaks his contract with Charlie by touching her, and now Alastor is completely free to do whatever he wants.
You're the most powerful sinner in hell now. I have to thank you for that. Your little power grab helped break another chain that's been holding me back for quite some time.
Oh, yeah, you know, I didn't get that at first. I'm glad they explained it. I'm not very smart. Another anime-style fight against Vox, but now he's leveled up. All good bosses have two phases. Vox uses his own weapon on Hell, which gives him some bad PR and the Angels some good PR. Which only goes to show you that politicians will be on your side until it doesn't suit them anymore. Val and Velvet finally decide to betray Fox since he's very clearly crazy. The weapon starts overloading, Emily makes her own ultimate sacrifice in order to stop the weapon using her angel magic and Charlie's magic and singing together. That's also important. And Hutch? Oh, okay, what? Oh, this is what we're doing. Oh man, really? They went this route for the resolution? I'm rolling my eyes as I write this. Loot chimes in to ruin everything, thank goodness. I mean, I guess it works thematically for the story. You know, the idea that like truth prevails and the media is crushed and the will of the people coming together in a more literal sense than not, but I don't care. It's still such an overused trope.
Can't breathe.
Oh my god, that's right, Fall Out Boy is in this show. I totally forgot that was Patrick Stump the whole time. He stands up to loot and, well, that's it, I guess. Wow, that was a nice 30 seconds. Okay, no, but really, we're back to this. We're actually committing to this trope. I mean, it's fine. I won't say it's bad, but it's just so unoriginal. Yeah, they contain the explosion with togetherness, and the weapon was gay. Sir Pentious finally broadcasts and proves that redemption is possible. You know, after all of hell changed their opinion already. Angel tells them that he's still in Val's pocket, and he can't go back to the hotel because he won't betray Charlie and spy on her.
Mom?
Finally!
Now I will say that with holding Sir Pentious through the entire show and having him be the linchpin in Charlie's plans feels very cheap. Even though like at the end he wasn't the linchpin in Charlie's plans, but regardless, it feels cheap. Dangling the carrot in front of us only to replace it with an onion. And like, I still get fed, cool, but like, I was staring at that carrot for a long time, my dude. Now, as I mentioned, is season 2 as good as season 1? I would argue not. I also argue the songs in season 2 aren't as good as season 1. There's like only one song I want to download, and that's the song with Charlie and Vaggie, obviously, duh. And also the song that Angel sings while they're performing at the casino because it's hot, but it doesn't really have a lot of substance other than it's hot, which is fine, but also I like substance. But I wouldn't say it's bad. I feel like Hazbin Hotel is put under such a hypercritical eye because of Vivzy Pop and like all the dirt people have brought up on Vivzy Pop, which at this point, I can't even figure out if most of it is real or not, because whenever someone says, oh, she did insert terrible thing, you know what I'm talking about. That thing you thought of, that's what I'm talking about. There's a lot of things you could think of. People bring up a lot of stuff. They say she did this thing. I'm like, oh, okay, where did you hear that? And they say, just Google it. I did. I Googled it and I get other people saying she did it. Hearsay is not evidence. Now, maybe I just haven't Googled it well, or maybe there's just so many people talking about this that it's so flooded with hearsay, I can't find the evidence. And obviously, of course, the evidence is most likely scrubbed from the internet, and thus I'm not gonna be able to find it, but there has to be something out there. Or maybe people are blowing this way out of proportion. Because I come from the metal scene where we have people that have tried to assassinate their wives and have done a lot of other worse things than what people have accused Vivzy Pop of doing. Like, so I hear all the accusations against Vivzy Pop and I'm like, okay, that's not cool. Is she still doing that? No. Like, people can change. As much as I like the idea of cancel culture and giving people what they deserve, I also know that it's better for people to be rehabilitated rather than punished. People get really upset at how Charlie falls for Vox's media trappings. The whole debate me, bro, I'm going to twist every word you say, literally taking disconjointed snippets of what she said in order to create an entirely new sentence that makes her sound like she's a monster. And I'm like, yeah, that's the point. It's like Charlie is too nice. You realize that that's her flaw. Main characters are supposed to have flaws. Is it frustrating? Sure, of course. But she'd be boring if she didn't have flaws. Now, what I've read, Charlie in this season is supposed to represent Vivziepop and how Vivziepop was trying to correct her insufferable fan base from all the things that people have said about her and trying to clarify and give more context, and they don't care. And they just take what she says and spins it in a new direction, and she keeps trying to correct them, only to realize they don't want to be corrected, and they won't listen to anything she's saying, which is exactly what's happening to Charlie, which is supposedly exactly what happened to Vivziepop, because PR training is very important. Media training is so important, because you need the media in order to connect with your fan base, but also the media is evil. What were people expecting? What were the fans expecting? What were the haters expecting? They get upset for a plot occurring? Oh no! You can say what you want about Vivziepop, and believe me, there's a lot of things people have and can say about Vivziepop. But the fan base for Hazbin Hotel is so insufferable to such an extreme degree, and I've seen my fair share of insufferable fandoms to where I've been scared to talk about Hazbin Hotel for a long time, even though I've been watching all of Hell of a Boss and Hazbin Hotel and just not talking about it because a lot of people here suck. But I think I've developed enough of a thick skin to just put my thoughts out there, and I don't care if they're somewhat ignorant or they aren't as fully informed as some other people. I want to talk about a show I like. That's what a fandom's supposed to be about. I can't help but feel bad for her because maybe as bad as Vivziepop is, you guys are worse. You realize that, right? Like, there's a mirror being held up to you in season 2. You realize you're the bad guy. There's a reason people say that this fan base is just a bunch of 13-year-olds, because I'm almost certain 90% of this fan base is just 13-year-old Tumblrites after Tumblr was like a thing. And I spent so much time on Tumblr, I know what I'm talking about. Anything you say can and will be held against you, and anything you don't say can and will be held against you. So yeah, I call me crazy, I think this season was good, except for the music. I don't think there's really anything wrong with it. You guys just get butthurt and spend more time listening to people hating online rather than actually consuming and analyzing a media for yourself. I try to make sure I don't watch or listen to anything before consuming a show for a video because I want to give you my honest opinion without any bias. And I think so many people are so obsessed with getting spoilers and trailers and the talk and that it just skews their perception of everything, and they don't know how to just consume a show and analyze and process something with its own merit. Like, it isn't healthy. You get that, right? I am talking down to you and I'm aware of that, but you guys need to be talked down to. Your children. Even if you're an adult, you're acting like a child. The online smack talking clearly warps your perception of reality. Now, I'm not gonna pretend that Vivziepop is a saint and can do no wrong, but it's obvious that you guys at this point are worse. So, support me on Patreon, where I have monthly stickers and trading cards. Follow me on Instagram. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay beautiful and keep playing.